There is so much drama going on in Hollywood right now, and we're going to get into all of it in this video. Why Leonardo DiCaprio has officially been labeled a creep, the public spat between Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, and Chris Brown's massive tantrum after he lost out at the Grammys. First up, let's try to answer this question once and for all. Is Leonardo DiCaprio a creep? The actor has divided the internet once again after pictures emerged of him attending a party with his potential new girlfriend, 19-year-old Israeli model Eden Polani. At the moment, she's signed to IT Models and is pretty active on social media, with over 200,000 followers on Instagram. But yes, there's no getting around the fact that she was born in 2003, making her 19 years old. So if the two of them are really dating, this means that they would have a 29-year age gap. This news has already sent Twitter into a frenzy. One viral post about it will make you feel very icky, because it really puts this whole thing into perspective. Someone posted a photo of 47-year-old Pedro Pascal hugging his 19-year-old co-star Bella Ramsey to demonstrate how crazy this age difference is. The two of them star in the HBO series The Last of Us, where Pedro plays Joel, a man who is tasked with protecting a young girl named Ellie, who is played by Bella. In the show, Joel is something of a father figure to Ellie, and they are trying to reach safety together in a post-apocalyptic world. So comparing Pedro and Bella's age gap to Leo and Eden's age gap has made a lot of people feel queasy, and the comment section says it all. That 29-year age gap has been labeled as gross and icky. In fact, someone wrote that they nearly spat out their drink after realizing how different the two relationships are despite having a similar age gap. Of course, there were also those people that came through with the jokes. One user tweeted, "All women under the age of 25 should start a union against Leonardo DiCaprio." Another person commented that Leonardo DiCaprio's new girlfriend is so young her high school experience was interrupted by the pandemic, which is scary because it's true. Someone else wrote, "In Inception, Leonardo DiCaprio has a wife that is the same age as him, therefore the entire movie was just a dream." There was also another meme going around saying that Eden Polani was actually born 7 years after the Titanic came out in 1997. But all jokes aside, the news that Leo is possibly dating a teenager has reignited a conversation around creepy men in Hollywood. Someone tweeted, "Why are women who date slightly younger men called things like cougar, but men who date women half their age are called things like Leonardo DiCaprio?" Another user wrote, "I don't think that it's Leonardo DiCaprio breaking up with these women because he thinks they're old once they hit 25. I think it's the women dumping him because their frontal lobe finished developing, and so they realized he is scum," which of course is a massive possibility. But to be clear, this is far from the first time that Leo has been criticized for dating a way younger woman. The Oscar-winning actor reportedly broke up with his girlfriend of 4 years, Camila Maroney, just after her 25th birthday in June last year. When that happened, fans joked on social media that the relationship was about to come to an end after he learned that she was going to be turning 25. For a while, we did get a glimmer of hope when Leo was rumored to be dating 27-year-old Gigi Hadid, but that turned out to be pretty short-lived, and it didn't actually break his dating pattern. In fact, several years ago, someone on Reddit created a graph that shows us the ages of all of Leo's ex-girlfriends, and that has been circulating online ever since. The graph suggests that his oldest girlfriends have been 25 years old or younger, and the average age of them is 22.9 years old. The chart spans more than 20 years of his relationships from 1999 to 2023, and it recently got an update. Most of his public relationships all took place when the women were in their early 20s, specifically between the ages of 20 and 24, including his famous relationship with Giselle Bundchen. Leo has also dated Israeli model Bar Raffaelli until 2010, the year she turned 25, and Kelly Roback in 2015, the same year she turned 25, and Nina Agdal from 2016 until 2017, also the year she celebrated her 25th birthday, but I'm sure that was purely a coincidence. So is it really true that age is just a number? Although celebrities tend to get away with a lot more when it comes to relationships, does there come a certain point where an age gap crosses the line? And if so, what is the cutoff? Is it 10, 20, or 30 years? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Moving on, why does it seem like Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are fighting all the time? It's become pretty obvious that their marital bliss isn't quite as it seems, because there's now repeated instances of them being caught arguing on camera. The first incident that occurred was shortly after Jennifer's Today interview, when the couple were filmed having what looked like a tense argument at the premiere for her new movie Shotgun Wedding. In a clip that quickly went viral on TikTok, JLo appears to taste Ben's drink and then looks at him sternly. She seems visibly fed up with her husband as he tries to defend himself and repeatedly says Jen. He could also be seen yelling over the music that he did not drink anymore anything. It was theorized at the time that Ben is insisting that he hasn't been drinking alcohol and that she was tasting his drink to check in the video. Ben has been open about his recovery from alcoholism and the fact that he's been to rehab multiple times over the years, like in 2001, 2017, and 2018. That video has been viewed around 2 million times so far, but surprisingly, most people seem to think that Jennifer is being unsupportive of Ben's struggles. Someone wrote, "They just seem exhausting. This marriage will never see 18 months. Another person commented, "It just looks like she doesn't trust him. Picked up the drink to taste it. He's clearly upset." And things just seem awkward between the newlyweds when they were filmed at the Grammys on Sunday night. Someone posted a video on Twitter of the two of them sitting together and wrote, "However bad of a day you're having, I promise you it's not as miserable as Ben Affleck at the Grammys right now." It's true that whatever he was feeling at that ceremony, he simply looked miserable, like he would rather be anywhere else. Next to him, JLo was clapping happily and seemed a lot more focused on what was going on stage than how her partner was feeling. As expected, the comments under that video were pretty harsh. Someone wrote, "He could be home baking with Jennifer Garner, and instead he's looking around for the emergency exits for a quick getaway." Another person wrote, "The Grammys is worth watching right now if only for the cuts to Ben Affleck looking like an awkward dad who drew the short stick for taking his daughter and her friends to a concert of an artist that he's never heard of." In another awkward video from the event, the newlyweds were captured having an intense argument, but they seemed like they were trying to play it off for the cameras. In the clip, Ben can be seen leaning over to whisper something in Jennifer's ear, only for her to whip her head around and sternly say something to him. She then puts her hand on his chest and appears to tell him to sit up straight, and he immediately adjusts his posture. JLo looks annoyed and rolls her eyes before noticing that they are on camera. She then turns her attention to Trevor Noah, who's hosting the event, and she tries to laugh it off. But this wasn't enough to distract viewers from that awkward interaction. Now people are taking sides over who's causing all of these arguments. But whatever the case may be, it doesn't necessarily mean that anyone is to blame. Relationships are hard, and even though these two are newlyweds, they have a dating history that goes back 20 years. Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck have had an on-again, off-again romance that has been going on since the 2000s, with fans even nicknaming the couple Benifer. They first met on the set of Geely in early 2002, and they got engaged for the first time in November of that year. Despite planning to marry in a lavish ceremony in September of 2003, they ended up calling it off just days before the wedding, and said that the excessive media attention had taken a toll on their romance. They split up only 4 months later, but 2 decades after their first engagement, they finally tied the knot in July last year. JLo wrote about the wedding and said, "We did it. Love is beautiful, love is kind, and it turns out love is patient. 20 years patient. It was exactly what we wanted. Last night we flew to Vegas, stood in line for a license with 4 other couples, all making the same journey to the wedding capital of the world." She said that they barely made it to the little white wedding chapel before midnight, and they married in an intimate ceremony after they changed into their wedding outfits in the break room. Jennifer said, "So with the best witnesses you could ever imagine, a dress from an old movie and a jacket from Ben's closet, we read our own vows in the little chapel and gave one another the rings we'll wear for the rest of our lives. They even had Bluetooth for a march down the aisle. But in the end, it was the best possible wedding we could have imagined, one we dreamed of long ago and one we made real." So it seems like it really was meant to be, especially when they came back into each other's lives after so long. But at the moment, it seems like they've hit a bump in the road, and while we don't know exactly what goes on in their relationship, it could be a sign that they just need to take a step back away from the cameras and privately resolve their issues before we see another one of these awkward videos going around. And lastly, let's talk about the fact that Chris Brown threw a tantrum when he lost out to another artist at the Grammys. The 33-year-old singer was up for an award on Sunday in the Best R&B Album category, but he ended up losing to a pianist called Robert Glasper. So how did he take the news? Well, he completely flipped out and started trashing the winner, making fun of the fact that he's not very well known. Chris took to his Instagram stories and actually posted a picture of Robert Glasper. He wrote, "Y'all playing, who the F is this?" along with crying laughing emojis. But he did not stop there. In another post he wrote, "Who the F is Robert Glasper? I'ma keep kicking y'all A respectfully." And if that wasn't enough, Chris then made fun of the fact that Glasper is a classical musician. He wrote, "I gotta get my skills up, I'ma start playing the harmonica." He then posted a Photoshop picture of himself playing the harmonica with the caption, "New level unlocked, harmonica breezy." His rant was nothing short of embarrassing, considering the fact that he tried to bring another artist down because he couldn't accept the fact that he didn't win Best R&B Album. But ironically, Chris hasn't ever been very successful when it comes to winning Grammys. Despite getting 20 nominations throughout his career, he's only ever won once. That was back in 2012 for his album album called Fame. Robert Glasper, on the other hand, has been nominated 11 times in 8 different categories, and he's won 5 Grammys. He's also written and produced for artists like Snoop Dogg, Mac Miller, Common, and many more. So clearly Chris Brown was just bitter because he lost to someone with a whole lot more talent. Eventually though, he did seem to come to his senses, and he reached out to Glasper on Instagram. Chris wrote, "Congratulations, my brother. I would like to apologize if you took offense to my reaction at the Grammys. You were not the intended target, and I know I came off really rude and mean. After doing my research, I actually think you're amazing." He then goes on to say that he thinks the Grammys did them both dirty and that they should have never been competing in the same category in the first place, because they have 2 totally different vibes and genres. Chris finished off the message by congratulating him again and said, "I hope you're able to feed your family for life." But all of this backpedaling doesn't take away from the fact that he had a straight up tantrum just because he lost. Once he looked up all of Glasper's achievements, he obviously realized that he was in the wrong. Once the apology was posted online, many people took to Twitter to call him out for his horrible behavior. One user tweeted, "You were not the intended target," says the guy who posted images of the person in question. Genius stuff here. Another person wrote, "It's still a backhanded compliment, because he's trying to say he would have won had they not been in the same category." Someone else wrote, "This is how a narcissist apologizes 101. He didn't take responsibility for the way he impulsively responded, attempted to trauma bond, and then blamed his hate on someone else." For his part, Glasper responded to the attack on his own social media, and luckily he didn't seem to take the slander to heart. He wrote, "It's been brought to my attention that y'all have questions about who the F Robert Glasper is. If y'all have questions, I have answers. Check out my stories to play along." So hopefully both artists are able to move on from this drama, especially since Chris realized he was the one in the wrong. But what do you think about his outburst? Was he right to be upset since he got snubbed at the Grammys, or was the whole thing just immature? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.